What's up YouTube, Mr. Lamacy here, and today I just want to go over all of the new rune words that we've seen. Now I've done individual kind of deep dives into each of these, initial reactions, all of that was first read. I've had time to think a little bit more on some of these, discuss a little bit more. My opinions change here and there, but overall I still just want to give an overall theme overview, I think is the best way to say it. This is Macro Llama Boy coming at you. So the first set that we got from Macro was these 5 helms right here. Shale, Io, Blank, right? And each one of these was bringing in a different little piece to it. So obviously if we look at these 4 right here, Ground, Hearth, Temper, Cure, they're pretty disappointing to me from a first glance. Shale, Io, Blank does mean you can get these from Nightmare Countess. So that is nice, at least, that you can just go there, farm the Nightmare Countess, get the runes, and move forward. First off, adding more absorb pieces to the game is just gonna make, dueling more annoying with people that just stack Sorb. But beyond that, it's okay. I do think that any of these helms, I'd prefer to just shove like 3 Ort runes. So it's like I can make ground, or I can just put Ort in a helm and have 90% lightning resist. Now I guess this does roll up to 60%. Is my assumption. So maybe that plus the absorb, the tiny bit of life, vitality, recovery, they're pretty similar to the general idea of just having Ort, or Ral, or Ral, Ort, Thol, or whatever combination of those runes I just want to shove in there for that. Now, each of these does have the ability to potentially be useful for, I think the idea is like Ubers, right? So it's like ground could be a nice little boost that I could put on for a budget Uber. Now I get a little lightning absorb for Mephisto, and it's a little bit better, right? It's okay. Hearth, maybe if you want for Duriel. Temper, maybe if you want for, I don't know, Diablo or something. It's all right. But, I just don't, I just don't know if I'm really like super excited about them in any sense there. Because they're just kind of like very situational items that you're just going to put. Travancore, I guess. Yeah, you could use Temper for Travancore. Maybe if you don't have a dwarf or something like that. So, again. All right. Maybe this will help your mercenary in Trav. Though he'll still probably die, let's be honest. Cure, the idea is probably for Lilith, but Lilith just murders you regardless. And not getting any like additional poison res, like max poison res or anything, you're just going to get destroyed. So I doubt Cure ever gets made. The top 3 ones, they're okay. Again, I'm probably preferring to just put Ral, Ort, Thol, or Ral, whatever, in a helm and run around with better resistances that I'm just going to generally have for the game. But I could see people making these for a budget, Uber's attempt, or, for an early Trav, like hoping to not die or not have your mercenary just get one shot by it, whatever. So I could see these ground and temper maybe having a little bit of use. Hearth probably won't get used very much, let's be honest. So mediocre runewords there. They're okay. They're not great, but they're okay. Bulwark, I think, the more I look at it, the better it definitely gets. The biggest piece that this provides is that it's going to give the 5 lifesteal That right there, and the replenish life 30 isn't bad either. But the 5 life steal, that right there, this is slightly helping out a problem that exists in the game, which is mercenaries needing a life steal, right? If you get yourself a mercenary and they don't have any life steal, they just die straight up. Straight up, they're just going to pop, and that's just going to be the end of that. And so this has some addition there. You get 5 life leech, replenish life 30, a little vitality, max life, damage reduced by 7, and physical damage received reduced by 15%. So the 2 of these are, it's like a worse gaze, but it's Shale Io Soul. This is a great little item that you can pick up, put on your mercenary until you get a gaze or something like that a little bit later on. I think it is fine. I think it's a fine rune word. I doubt I'm really using this very much on like my melee characters because, again, 5 life leech at that point isn't really doing a lot. But the damage reduction maybe is okay and nice. So there's potential that if I'm running around with a melee character, I put this on. It has no resistances.
Bug or Merc again.
That'd be nice. It has no resistances, though, so that's where I think it would be kind of difficult. It's like, I'd love to put this on, but I'm probably putting on just like a Rowlort Tholhelm or something, or just an Ort Ral or whatever, right? I'm probably putting that on somewhere to help get those res up, because if you're going to be standing, as a melee character next to these mobs who are, breathing fire on you and stuff, you need to have some decent resistances. But if you do have resistances a little bit better, I think that this could be used as well for that character. So overall, I'd say Bulwark is probably my favorite rune word of all the rune words that they've introduced, because it really is, it has a use case that, I'll give it to my mercenary. It's a little buff there. If I get like a treachery and a bulwark, that's amazing. If I get obedience on him, whatever. All right, it's a solid mercenary and nightmare. So I like that, and it potentially has some use. These ones are okay. Ground and temper, some very specific use cases. Hearth and cure, probably not getting used at all. The next rune words to talk about is hustle. It goes in weapons and body armors. I think this is one of my least favorites, and yet also one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites because I want to make my speed barb even faster. And this is ridiculous in making the speed barb even faster. Because right now, my speed barb has max faster run walk with all of his gear, all of his charms. Then he carries Harmony for Vigor Aura, which is a massive boost. But the one thing that he could never get was Burst of Speed. So now he gets Burst of Speed, and oh my god, he is going to be absolutely flying. It's going to be like stupid how fast this character runs. Other than that, I really kind of hate it. The problem with Burst of Speed is that Burst of Speed is very OP, right? So getting a 5% chance to cast level 9 Burst of Speed, that gets you like 43% IES and 51% faster run walk or something. But that is not just basic like faster run walk. That is EFRW, right? This is separate from your regular like gear that adds fast run walk and things like that. So it's just going to be so much stronger because it has like its own kind of scaling that makes it, it's like not multiplicative exactly, but it's like there's like each of them have kind of their, or it is multiplicative, whatever. Each of them has their own scaling. It's deliciously fast. So you are going to be flying with this. And you're going to have insane attack speed with this as well. If you put Burst of Speed on a really good weapon, it would be the most brokenly OP thing in the game. Straight up. It is so broken how good Burst of Speed is. And if you gave that to, if you gave that to barbarians or to, Zeal Paladins or to Bosons or any of that stuff, it will be absolutely stupid. So you can't put this on a good rune word, because then that rune word becomes like a grief, just like the best in the game. That's just like amazing and insane and whatever. The problem is now they've just put it on a trash rune word. Again, look at this. 30 IAS, 132% ED, and then like nothing else matters. So it's like low ED, some IAS. It's just burst of speed. That's all it is. That's all it is. So do you really want to have a weapon like this? No, your weapon's going to be complete garbage. The whole point is the burst of speed. That's like all that this is. And a single proc of this burst of speed is better than the entire rune word of the armor. So it never makes sense to make the armor before the weapon. Because 50 faster run walk, well, level 9 burst of speed gives you 51% faster run walk, and it's EFRW, which is so much faster than regular faster run walk. You get 44% IAS from the burst of speed as well. Like I say, just getting this burst of speed proc is worth way more than this armor is worth.
I decided to start speedrunning again.
So, oh, nice, Dragons. So it's pointless. So now it just becomes an item that you have to just proc. And it's probably, what, 215 seconds, 20 seconds, somewhere around there. So every 3 to 4 minutes, it's another thing that you're going to have to go proc. 216 seconds, there you go. And it's the 1 in 20 chance of hitting. And this is the theme that we're seeing with all of these rune words, is they're all just like pre-buff, pre-buff, pre-buff. Go do this. Come over here. Get Mark of the Wolf. Get Mark of the Bear. Get your burst of speed. Have your CTA. Have all of these things. Swap them all on. It's super annoying. Now, I also hate this from a speedrunning perspective, because now if you find a co-rune, you just go and like shove it somewhere to hit this once if you're playing like a melee character or a character that's not teleporting, and you just get crazy burst of speed. But that's just a very small piece of it. Take that out of it, I still just hate the idea of, again, just this one item that you have a 1 in 20 chance of this. Now, where do I actually see this being used overall late game? I mean, again, is somebody going to go and put on this trash weapon with low ED and nothing else and just hit 20 times? By the time they get their burst of speed on, get their Mark of the Bear, their Mark of the Wolf, all their stuff prepped, the chaos has already been cleared by the Hammered In or the Sorceress or whatever, and they'll be on to the next game, you know. Obviously, for Ubers, this is going to make Ubers so much easier for so many characters, because you get Mark of the Bear, Mark of the Wolf, burst of speed, and now, you know, these characters are just going to, like, dominate and just be insane on it. Yeah. Isn't this good for a mid-level bow? No, because it only has a little ED and nothing else. So you're not even, like, all you're going to do is exactly this. I will put this in a bow or something, put this on my offhand, shoot until I get burst of speed, and then go to my main hand and then play for the next 4 minutes until I need to proc it again.
Join my army of the dead.
Does burst of speed affect smite?
Probably, right? I don't know. I've never used it, but it's yes, I would imagine so. So this is going to make tons of builds now that'll hit some crazy frames per attack. But again, they're going to all require this. I believe it can be made in any weapon. So you can put it in a bow. Where I really truly see this is a Boazon having this on her swap and shooting off a couple multi-shots with the swap, and then coming back to this, and then just running around super fast like an insane Boazon. That's where I truly see this being used. All the other places it gets used are going to be all the just pre-buff. But that's like just a pre-buff, right? It's just gross. So I don't like it because it's like super OP, but then garbage as well, which makes it again just a pre-buff item. Nobody's using this. You're always swapping to the other thing. And the armor, I mean, I'd rather have treachery or something, but if you just have the co-rune, would you make this? No, you would still just make the weapon and then just pre-buff every 4 seconds or every 4 minutes. It never makes sense to make the armor because I'm always just going to get better with burst of speed. Just like that. Metamorphosis. I don't like adding in these new mechanics that only exist here. I think this is an interesting helm overall. Shockwave Druid, Rabies Druid will be buffed. I really dislike the idea that these are just mechanics that exist in general and again become pre-buffs. I'm swapping into a bear, back to human. I'm swapping into a wolf, back to human. I have to hit something after each of the swaps just to gain this for 3 minutes. Again, my beast source, my whatever. It's like, okay, so I go out, I buff CTA, I put on beast, I transform into a bear, I run out, I put on metamorphosis, I hit 1 time, I take that off, I take, the beast off, I put my main weapon I was gonna use, I put on wolf howl if I'm a barbarian, I turn into into a wolf. I put metamorphosis back on, I hit once again, I get mark of the wolf, I take that off. I put on my hustle RUNEWORD. I go out. I hit 20 times. I get burst of speed. I take hustle off. I put on my real weapon again, and now I'm ready to fight. Maybe I put Demon Limb on and get enchant. It's like, kill me. And this is with an inventory that's full of charms, and so I'm having to shove it back and forth between my stash and the cube, and the whole time I did all of that, the entire chaos is already cleared and Bale is done. This is what all of these new rune words just make me think. Plain and simple. They just make me think all of that. They're all for PvP, but GM duels don't allow pre-buffing. So it doesn't even make sense. You only get to have what's like on you.
Join my army of the dead.
If I were a conspiracy theorist, I'd say they didn't see D2, D2R players' relative lack of excitement for D4, and there are now slowly D4ifying D2R to create a player pipeline to D4. Oh, by the way, Oswald was a patsy.
Okay. So, but CTA, first off, you have a second weapon slot, which is allowed. That is a pre-buff that's allowed because, again, it's the gear that your character has on you. This is a helmet, so now you're having to grab the helmet and swap it on and off. You can't do that stuff. This is a weapon. You're having to grab the weapon and swap it on and off, and now you're doing that. Plus, these make you go into the forms and out of the forms when you're trying to do it all, like you Obsidian. So, again, another rune word that has mechanics only on this that don't exist in the game and really just require more pre-buff. And if you don't pre-buff, then you're not going to get... If you only go into the wolf form and only hit like this, then you're missing 25% attack speed. This isn't IAS, this is attack speed, which I'm guessing is much better. 25% chance of crushing blow and physical damage received reduced by 20%. So it's like you need to do both of these. But then now you're pre-buffing more. And then the last rumored Mosaic, another piece that adds on a mechanic that doesn't exist in the game. onto a weapon that is just not very good. Too low of ED, no ignore target defense, no deadly strike, no crushing blow, low IAS, repairs durability, so you can make it like an ethereal claw. So another thing that's just going to be really weak and doesn't really fix the problem with martial arts assassins. 200 to 600 ED. We just have a bad roll.
Their answer to strength in melee is to make us jump through all these hoops before we get outclassed by casters anyway.
Like, nobody's spending Mal gold just to have a 25% chance for their finishing move to not consume a charge and to use a bad weapon. Plain and simple. So, these are the new rune words that they gave us. Overall, I'm like a 3 out of 10 on them right now. I think they need many changes. Bulwark is carrying a lot of that. This is one of the best rune words this is the best one they introduced, in my opinion. It gives a very clear purpose. It has a very, special slot. And that's where rune words really shine. A lot of rune words really shine. Some people like them as like their endgame grief and faith and whatever. But I love rune words that really shine in the way of Bulwark. What's the problem? Mercenaries have a tough time getting life leech. You can craft a life leech helm, which I think does 1 to 3% chance for life leech. It's kind of low, and then you're kind of just taking a shot with some other things. Obviously, you'd love to get like a gaze or something for them, but you don't always find gaze. And so a rune word that you can come in, you can farm at the Nightmare Countess, you can get some physical damage reduction, some replenished life, some damage reduced, some life leech. It fits, you shove it on, it's great, right? Having rune words in that slot to me is really nice, really fitting, and then you upgrade it when you get that, Crown of Thieves or the Gaze or whatever it is. These ones, not as excited about, but Ground and Temper are at least mildly okay for, again, very specific purposes. Hustle is broken, and it's bad and good all at the same time. It's a terrible rune word, but it's also extremely broken for burst of speed, but another pre-buff that you need to shoot 20 times to get. Metamorphosis adds new mechanics, don't like that, and requires you to bounce back and forth between the forms. If they add a way for a druid to shift right from werebear to werewolf and vice versa, that will improve it somewhat. But I still overall don't really like this mark stuff that they've added, more pre-buff. And Mosaic, like we said, just another new mechanic on a rune word that's just not that good. It's just not good enough for its cost, and I just don't see people really making this. To me, it's like this rune word should cost, Lem, Io, Dole or something if they want to keep I don't even like the cold damage. Lem, Io, Ral. Something like that. And now it's like, okay, maybe when I'm running around, I'll put this on for early stages and hit with it. It'll be like mildly okay. In like early mid game, maybe a Nightmare, I'll make a claw with this or something. And then obviously I'll upgrade out of it. But I also still don't even like this piece. I think they need to find a better way to fix finishing moves. So, yeah, that's my overall thoughts. I'd love to hear your guys' overall rankings of this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, YouTube. I'll see you guys next time. And in PTR, we'll give a lot of feedback on these things. Peace, everybody.